Thank you, Davey.
My absolute pleasure.
Ours as well. You know, you can always tell when you did good, when you finish, and there's this, Oh,
In the silence, there is peace.
in the silence there is peace. So today, we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to talk about, and you're willing to exclaim, exhort, or whatever you wish, if Spirit moves you, talking about order today. That's in line with the Advent book that we have out. Today is Order Day this Sunday, and we've affirmed it. We've pretty much sung about it. And we're in the midst of it right now. Right now, what's happening is divine order is happening right now. And everything is happening all in good time. Good with a capital G, which is God's time. All in good time is always all in God's time. We often use the phrase all in good time when things aren't really clicking along as we would like it to click. Things are moving, but not nearly at the pace we would like it to move. It's moving all in good time, all in God time. And God, Spirit, plays the long game. Plays the long game longer than we can even imagine. Think about the long game of humanity. Written history is only a few thousand years old. And so we're at the end of written history right now, but we are the culmination of Spirit's long game to this point. To this point. And often, the process of Spirit and divine order is held up by, ta-da, us. If we look at it, if we look at the truth, capital T, behind humanity, right now we could be in a place of world peace. We could be feeding every individual on the planet. Every planet, there is no need for anyone on this planet to go hungry. We create enough food. We have the ability to distribute the food. We have the ability to live in harmony and order. We can do that, but we don't. That is the fullness of God's plan in my mind. That's what I believe, is that every human being is fed, every human being is taken care of, every human being has what it needs to sustain themselves. This world was created with everything we need to sustain ourselves. In the amount, I'm going to go off into a bit of a prosperity talk, in the amount that we need. We can survive. Somebody who is very good at it can survive maybe 3 or 4 minutes without air. The most abundant thing on the planet is air. We can survive less than that, but a few days, 5 days, without water. The next most abundant thing on the planet is water. And the next most abundant thing on the planet is food. So we are supplied with whatever it is we need to sustain ourselves. And with Spirit giving us free will, it is ours to do the sustaining. And how we choose to pick that up and how we choose to work with it is going to be the result of our overall existence, of our overall experience on this planet. And beneath all of it, all of what we create, and many times we create stuff that we ought not or wish we didn't, beneath it all is divine order. Divine order is constantly moving and working, creating, and bringing things into balance. Bringing whatever it is that we mess up back into the harmony of spirit, back into a balance which reflects the goodness of spirit. Divine order is one of the constants of the universe. Look at nature. Look at nature. You have spring, summer, fall, winter. Divine order. In it's back here a little bit. Well, anyway, the scripture first, the seed, then the corn, then the ear in the corn. It's all divine order. Everything works according to spirit. You look at the solar systems. Everything works according to spirit. It's all working in order. And we as human beings tend to mess that up because we get caught up in ourselves. We get caught up in ourselves. And it begins with what Fillmore called race thought. It has nothing to do with ethnicity or anything else. He's talking about the human race. Human race. That we as a human race, we have erroneous thoughts, erroneous ideas about how things are, how things work, and they all stem in the root of separation. That we are separate from each other, that we are separate from spirit. When in truth, we are not. We are not at all separate from each other, just as we are not separate from spirit. It breaks down into cultures, countries, races, religions, and so on, all the way down to ourselves as individuals. But in truth, divine order is expressed all in God's time. And in this experience, we call it the earthly experience. God's time is expressing here too. And we are the venues of creation in God's time on this earth. We are the eyes, ears, hands, and feet of spirit and creation on the planet, are we not? We are an expression of God. We are how spirit does things in the material world. Spirit can't, miracles can happen, things can go on, but in order to move this book, this Bible from here to there, I am used to move this Bible from here to there. In order to move our civilization, in order to move our united consciousness, going back to last week, in order to move our united consciousness from here to here, it takes us. We are the eyes, ears, hands, and feet of spirit to work in divine order, which we know, inherently know, is the truth, and know how it should work. It starts with you. It starts with me. And as we know and experience it for ourselves, you and me help create humanity as it would be. Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, the first one, page 73, says this: universal law has been established in the universe. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Universal law has been established in the universe, and that makes it possible for you to create exactly what you choose. The laws cannot be violated, nor can they be ignored. You are following these laws right now, even as you sit there. You cannot not follow the law, for these are the way things work. You cannot step aside from this. You cannot operate outside of it. We cannot operate outside of divine order, is what he's saying. You cannot work outside the law of spirit. It's always there, no matter what the outpicturing of your life, the harmony, rhythm, and order of spirit remain in motion. No matter what it looks like, God is there, doing God's thing. Jesus put it this way in John 15, 5, 7, and 8. I am the vine, you are the branches. Y'all heard this one before? I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do diddly. Don't think he said that, but it makes sense. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, whatever you wish for, it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. He's telling us that you are an integral part of spirit. When he says, this is to my Father's glory, he's talking about the Father, Mother, Christ of you being fulfilled in your actions. As you move forward in your life and have the greater understanding of your relationship with God and your greater expression of your presence that is God, Spirit itself is glorified, is magnified by your awareness. It's proof positive that Christ is there, that the Christ is at work. In the midst of all of this, whatever it is that's going on, we are proof positive of the goodness of God in action. Our lives prove it out. All in good time. And that time draws nearer every moment as you hold the ideas given to you by and through Spirit. As you work with them in your lives through prayer, meditation, and discernment. To bring all three, the idea of yourself, the idea, yourself, and Spirit, into alignment. You are being the hand of God in action. You are being, as we like to call in unity, co-creators. Co-creators with Spirit. That's what it means to be a co-creator. To do the work that God would have you do in the world. To move that book from there to there. To move yourself from here to here. When you do that, you're doing the work of Spirit. You're proving the activity of God. In Ecclesiastes 11:6, in the morning sow your seed, and in the evening do not let your hands be idle, for you do not know which will prosper, this or that, or whether both will be good. Do the best that you can do, and work with whatever comes up. That's all we can do. The best that we can do. 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Always do your best. Always do your best. And when you always do your best, you are always, always going to reap the good. Because even if it doesn't work out so good in your mind at the moment, or in your circumstances at the moment, it's working out to set you up for the next best thing. I spoke about that a couple weeks ago. And Jesus Christ Heals, Charles Fillmore, page 73. We read, trust God in all things and see the result made apparent by mental currents that you set going all about you. I love that idea. Mental currents that you set going all about you. You may not be able to point out just how each separate word of allegiance to Spirit took effect, but as the months go by, you will gradually observe the various changes that are taking place in your mind, body, and affairs. You will find that your ideas have broadened immensely. The world has been transformed into a big world. Your little world expands as you work with these truths. It expands because divine order is at work. The little world has become transformed into a big world. You have begun to think about realities instead of appearances. That's a big one. That is a big one for each one of us to hold on to. To think about realities rather than appearances. What is true rather than what it looks like. Your mind is more alert, and you can discern when before you were in doubt. You can discern when before you were in doubt. Before we didn't know what to do. And as we work with these truths, as we let them work in our lives and in our minds, and as we see the results, we gain the experience that we need. And we're able to discern what is next, rather than just taking a shot in the dark and hoping for the best. Spirit plays the long game. We are in the midst of a long game. We hold the seeds of our ideas, the seeds of Spirit, and we do not give up on our work. We work with them during the day. We work them at night. You work with them when you can see what's going on. You can see that things are working. You work with them then. You work with them at night. You work with them when things don't seem to be working. You still hold to it. You hold to the truth, even when it doesn't seem to be working out. Don't give up and declare divine order. That's what often happens. It gets too hard. Things are too difficult. Things aren't working out how we want, and you go, oh, divine order, and you walk away. You ever heard or seen that or done that? Yeah, just declare divine order. The heck with it, divine order. You walk away. You don't need to do that. Because when you do, when you give up, You give up your influence on the outcome. Because God is at work. God will do it without you. And then we get to live with that experience. So do not give up. You are a co-creator. Hold to the truth, work with it, and see the real divine order for you manifest. It's good to remember that in the success of things, when things do work out as we expect and order prevails, that we feel that's good. We feel a feeling of relief of, I did it. And there are times when things don't work out, you still have a feeling of relief. Well, at least I tried. Because you know, even though it didn't work out to the way that you wanted it to, that it worked out the way it needed to work out. At least I tried. You're acknowledging yourself for the effort towards good that you put in. And that's important. You have worked hand in hand with God and experienced through the experience what Ralph Waldo Emerson describes as the place in the middle of the stream of power and wisdom, which animates all who it floats, and you are, without effort, compelled to truth, to right, and perfect contentment. When we do our best, work with divine order, we are compelled to truth, to right, and perfect contentment with however it turns out. And yes, in that contentment, you will know, you can know, that with God and myself, doing what is mine to do, all things are indeed possible. And it happens all in good time. God blesses you.